I've travelled 6 hours north to Glasgow. Why? Because over my shoulder is Glasgow Angling Centre and it's their open weekend. The great thing about coming to Glasgow Angling Centre is you meet celebrities, and there is none bigger in fishing than Matt Hayes. Matt, it's a pleasure to see you again.
And you.
Now, Matt is a very fortunate person because half a year you live in Norway on a wonderful salmon river, you lucky beggar. But he also represents Guideline, which is a Scandinavian company, come over to the UK about 7-8 years ago. Forward-thinking company. So what's new on the market with them, Matt?
Well, there's always new stuff coming with Guideline, and as you probably know, the great thing about Guideline is that everything's developed in-house, so they don't take other people's stuff and copy it. They actually produce new things, and that's quite important. So if you look at a rod like this one, this is the Experience rod. It's a mid-price range rod. So you're looking at a single hand range that are around about high 200s and double hand that are high 300s. And this is a typical Life Stavmo collection of rods. Put a lot of work into it. For the money, the action on these rods is absolutely outstanding. They're really, really nice. In fact, to be honest, we're quite worried because they're so good for the money that, you know, you wonder whether people will buy the more expensive ones.
I mean, and Life, I mean, to people that don't know Life Stavmo, he will not put anything out in the market until he's happy with it.
Absolutely right. And the Experience, typical Life Stavmo product. If you look at the finish of the rod, I know we haven't got much time, but it's very nicely finished. It's a big range of rods. The key thing is the action, really. And for a rod in this price range, it's got a very, very crisp action, whether you use the single hand or the double hand.
So from 9 foot?
Well, it's a very big range. I mean, it goes from literally some of the smaller trout sizes, like the 3 weights, all the way up to 9 weights. And then in the double hand range, it goes from some of the short 12'6" rods that you see the Scandinavians using a lot in sort of 8, 9, all the way up to 14.5 foot 10-11s.
So look out for the Experience rods, but we've also got another one here.
Well, I mean, if you want the ultimate, Hal.
Now, I've just looked at the price point when I saw the price tag when I saw this rod. Right.
I thought you might mention that.
Being a Welshman, Matt, I've got to.
Yeah. Well, you'll know with your casting abilities that when you get to a certain level, which I don't consider myself to be at, but you certainly are, that if you want the absolute best, then it will cost a bit more money. Let me tell you why reaction does cost more money, and the double hand reactions are over 900 quid.
Yeah.
The single hands are 600 to 700 depending on which model. This is a rod basically built using American graphite. So it's quite an interesting move for a European fly fishing company to buy graphite from the States.
Yeah.
The reason is that the quality of the graphite in this rod is better than anything else that even Guideline make with their Lassie range, for example. The interesting thing about reaction is it's a rod with a genuinely unique action because of the quality of the carbon. And Life Stavmo spent 3 years on this range of rods, literally 3 years, changing. What is created is a rod where all the kick is in the lower section here.
Right.
So the best way I can describe casting with reaction is it's a little bit like putting your foot down and feeling the turbo kick in on a very fast sports car. There's a slight delay and then bang. And that's the unique action that reaction, and I don't think there's any other fishing rod on the market currently has quite got that unique action. It's a typical Life Stavmo project.
So money no object, and if you want the best, you've got to pay for the best.
Yeah. But that's not to say that you won't find good rods at all the other price points. And then the last product I'd like to mention, Hal, is triple density lines. This is a salmon line,
right?
But we also do trout or single hand lines. This is actually a single hand line here. We do both salmon and single hand shooting heads. Now, why is it called triple density? This is the bit that people struggle to get their heads around.
I was just about to ask that.
Okay, so single density, floating, intermediate. The line either floats or it sinks slowly. Wet Cell 2, single density. It sinks uniformly.
Yeah.
So then Guideline were one of the companies that introduced double density. So double density, typical would be float sink 3.
Yeah.
So the belly of the line and the rear portion is floating, and the front section is at a sink 3 rate, 3 inches per second.
Yeah.
Float, sink 3. Triple density might be float, intermediate, sink 3.
Got you.
So there are 3 densities in one line. Rear section is floating.
Yeah.
The middle section is an intermediate. The end of it is sink 3. And there are lots of different density combinations. So this one says sink 1, sink 3, sink 5.
Right.
Their
So
saying
you-
stands for single hand.
So
okay?
basically, you've got the back end is 1 inch per second,
Yeah.
the middle section is 3 inch per second, and the tip is 5 inch per second.
you,
so
you
if
catch on fast.
Yes, so if you're fishing in a river, you
Yeah.
get in that line down in a straight line, and you will get better hookups.
Well, there are several benefits to using a triple density line, particularly if you're into your salmon fishing. First one is that even the aggressive sinkers, and this is quite a fast sinker, pick off like intermediates.
Yes.
Because the line goes down diagonally. You're in direct contact with the fly, so it gives you very good presentation. But when you go to lift even a sinker off, it comes off very, very cleanly. When you cast with the line, because the weight changes are distributed evenly throughout the length, you get much better in-flight stability. So when you cast with the line, it doesn't kind of fly off all over the place. They cast very true. And in presentation terms, because you've basically got 3 densities in one, you're right in direct contact with the fly.
The turnover is perfect
Very
as well.
nice. Yeah, I mean, very, very nice.
Well, there you go. That's the new things on the block with Guideline. Matt, thank you very much.
been my
Always
pleasure.
nice to see you,
And you,
at
mate.
the open weekend.
Yeah.
And I know you've got many, many fans coming up to see you, and
hope so.
and a lot of autographs to sign. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, cheers, Hal.